He toasts our marriage with a lie and tips the waiter with my prenup. He smiles like this is all a game, a stage, a gift he's giving the world. His champagne glass glows under the downlight, gold-flecked bubbles rising with every syllable of flattery. Around the table, people laugh the wine has loosened them, or maybe they want to believe he's just charming. Not cruel. The waiter leans forward, quiet in black and white. Daniel slips him a folded napkin with a tucked edge. No eye contact. The waiter nods and moves on. That napkin wasn't just cloth. It was paper. Cream-colored. From the home printer. I know the crease. I folded it myself once back when I thought marriage meant sharing things, not filing them away for leverage. He makes a joke about our wedding vows. Something about me promising to endure all things, even his credit score. Laughter bubbles across the table like it's another course. He's proud of that one rehearsed, no doubt. My teeth press behind my smile. To my left, Rhea doesn't look up. She stares at her plate, rearranging asparagus like she's building a fence between herself and the moment. She knows this script too. She's helped me write the new one. Across the table, Margot raises her phone. She loves these dinners, loves being seen with the people who sign the checks. The red circle on her screen pulses like a warning light. If she scrolls back later, frame by frame, she'll catch the tip. The second the napkin passed, the camera was rolling. The toast continues. Daniel lifts his glass higher and says, "To my wife, the real designer in this relationship." I give her chaos, and she makes it chic. More laughter. I nod politely, as if that joke wasn't our actual dynamic. As if I haven't spent years repackaging his carelessness into something livable. Something that didn't embarrass him. Champagne glistens in the flute. Cold. Effervescent. Hollow. The ring on my left hand feels tight, not from fit, but friction. I twisted it inward before we left the house, diamond buried against my palm. He hates when I do that, says it, sends a message. It does. He finishes the toast. Everyone claps, glass against glass, metal against teeth. I sip, careful not to leave lipstick on the rim. That's the kind of detail he'd comment on later, not tonight, not in front of people. But when we're home. When I'm no longer curated. The waiter returns, collecting plates. He takes Daniel's nod as a signal. Another envelope, thin, intentional, appears on the silver tray, placed next to me without a word. Daniel doesn't look at me. Just wipes his mouth and laughs with Julian, talking real estate like he didn't just deliver legal theater in linen. I don't open the envelope. I don't need to. I designed it. Margot zooms in. I hear the digital shutter click once, twice. Someone across the table says, "You two make it look effortless." I offer a soft smile. Effort always looks invisible when one person does all of it. They laugh like it's a joke. Daniel doesn't notice. He's too busy celebrating himself. Rhea finally lifts her gaze. Our eyes meet. Her jaw tightens, not fear, not regret. Readiness. The room smells like butter and wine and something caramelized. Sweet and sour. Depending where you sit. Daniel leans over. You're awfully quiet. It's not making stave this face tea. I'm listening, I reply. To what? To everything you're not saying. He chuckles, thinks it's flirtation, thinks this is foreplay. He doesn't realize the real affair has been with silence. The table shifts. Dessert arrives, miniature domes of mousse and edible gold leaf. Daniel digs in, completely unaware that his night, and everything he thinks he owns, is dissolving one bite at a time. He lifts his glass again. To endurance, he says. I raise mine slowly, voice smooth. To consequences. The toast clinks again. The waiter returns with the bill or something that looks like it. Inside, it isn't a total. It's a clause. He sees it. He recognizes the phrasing. His smile stutters. The camera is still rolling. Part 1 complete. Hook delivered. Bio stamp placed. Motif seated. Inward ring. Public coldness. Evidence foreshadowed. Prenup napkin. Point of view. Maintains strategic concealment. Public spike locked. Margot films the moment. Ready to proceed to part 2. Type part 2 to continue. You said. Continue. 1200 word. Drama Forge US GPT Pro said. Dans phase 9. Script part 2. Part 2, 12. Target length. to 1,200 words. Style: karma ending, inner 50%, visual 30%, dialogue 20%. Point of view: unreliable first person. Elena hides full intent but cedes emotional contradiction. Motif: emotional coldness. Ring turned inward. Symbol: seed. Evidence: hidden. Legal weapon introduced later. Julian. Rhea. Part 2. The ring turned inward. The bathroom mirror reflects a version of me I don't entirely recognize anymore. Polished, tailored, poised. I've built this face like I build my spaces. Every shade intentional, every curve softened, every flaw masked. Tonight, the makeup sits heavier than usual. Or maybe it's my conscience. Behind me, our bedroom glows with dim intention. Daniel's voice carries from the walk-in closet. Elena, if we're late again, Margot's going to act like she owns the event. I don't respond. I'm watching my hands. The ring on my left hand glints beneath the vanity light. Platinum, custom set, meant to last longer than his first marriage, as he joked during the proposal dinner. I should have listened then. That laugh held truth. I twist the ring slowly. Turn the diamond inward so the setting presses gently into my palm. It leaves a faint imprint when I close my fingers. A quiet protest. A personal ritual. Daniel hates when I do it. He once asked if it was meant as a message. I told him it wasn't. It is. I apply one last layer of nude gloss, then stand. Coming. I call. Smoothing the hem of my navy silk dress, the one he prefers because it makes me look expensive but not loud. A compliment wrapped in control. In the hallway, I pass the print I designed for our anniversary, 2 birds in flight. He insisted we hang it in the foyer. Said it looked wealthy. I smile without warmth. In the car, Daniel scrolls through messages as the driver pulls away. His cufflink catches the last of the sun, a flash of gold over white. He doesn't glance at me. You bring the seating chart? He asks. I nod. It's in my clutch. I rewrote it this morning. He keeps scrolling. Make sure I'm next to Julian. We've got that side project. And not near Rhea. She always looks like she's taking notes on me. His no have known me. She is, I reply, half smiling. He chuckles. Well, tell her to write something flattering this time. The window's reflection gives me my own eyes. Still. Focused. Older than they were last year. And sharper. Daniel doesn't notice the silence stretching between us like tension wire. He hums along to a playlist he didn't make. About a life he doesn't manage. We arrive at the venue. A high-end rooftop lounge overlooking the skyline. Cream linen tablecloths, golden string lights, a curated menu he pretends he approved. Smile, he says as we step out of the car. We're the picture of success tonight. Smile. Nod. Pretend. The hostess leads us in. The guest list is full: clients, investors, influencers. Most know Daniel. All see me as the tasteful wife. Perfect. Let them. Inside, the air smells like chilled basil and slow-poached fish. Waiters glide between candlelit tables with polished trays. Jazz plays softly. It's the kind of atmosphere people tag on social media to prove they live well. Rhea stands near the floral arch, clipboard in hand, adjusting the seating tags. She spots me and gives a single nod, neutral, unreadable, which is our language in public. She's in black, as usual, blending in with the event staff. She prefers it that way. Eyes always open, nothing missed. I approach her casually. Everything on schedule. Julian's here early, she says, eyes on her tablet. Asked about the clause. Let him wait. He won't mind. He's curious. He should be cautious instead. She glances at me then. Sharp, brief. Her silence is approval. Daniel asked not to sit near you. I add, with a dry smile. She smirks. He's not used to women listening. Behind us, Daniel is already performing hand on Julian's back, laughing, lifting a glass. He's magnetic in crowds, a practiced charmer with the kind of swagger that buys second chances. I study him for a long moment. Any issues with the plan? I ask quietly. Only that you still have time to back out. I'm not. I know. She adjusts a name card. You look calm. I designed calm. Across the room, Julian catches my eye and lifts his glass. His face holds nothing, no warning, no allegiance. Just calculation. I nod back, equally blank. Daniel finishes his drink and walks toward me. Let's make a round, he says. Of course. They want us to without stacked for find. His hand rests lightly on the small of my back. To the crowd, it looks affectionate, supportive. It's neither. It's a claim. We circle the room, pausing to greet, to flatter. Daniel's voice swells in every interaction, louder, warmer, more grandiose. He compliments a donor's tie, laughs too long at a joke, exaggerates a story about our Paris trip that never happened the way he tells it. I smile. I nod. I am a prop in his version of our marriage. Near the end of the loop, he says it. Casually. Sharp like ice. Glad you wore the ring the right way tonight. I meet his eyes. I wasn't sure it would fit over my expectations. He laughs. Thinks I'm joking. I'm not. Part 2 complete. Motif seated. Ring turned inward. Emotional tone. Cold bitterness rising. Point of view. Conceals full plan but leaks Elena's emotional fracture. Ali presence. Rhea established. False ally. Julian introduced. Setting builds tension before the dinner toast. Part 4 spike. Ready to proceed to Part 3? Type Part 3 to continue. You said. Continue Dysent taught Dysent 200 word. DramaForge US, GPT Pro said. It's phase no. Script Part 3. Part 3 12. Target length. To 1,200 words. Style. Karma ending. Ratio. Inner 50%. Visual 30%. Dialogue 20%. Pove. Elena concealing intent. Strategic restraint. Motif. Emotional coldness rising calculation. Legal evidence. Quietly introduced via overheard clause reference. Shift. Passive alert. Function. Foreshadow the prenup clause. Show Elena observing, instead of reacting. Part 3 the setup. The rooftop air is a little too crisp for silk, but I don't ask for a shawl. Discomfort sharpens awareness. Rhea glides past me without breaking pace, murmuring just loud enough for me to hear. The east table's set. The light's better there for photos. Meaning, Margot will film from that angle. Meaning, that's where the performance needs to land. I nod slightly, as if agreeing about lighting, and follow Daniel's stride across the venue. He's already halfway into his social orbit, clasping hands, slapping backs, flashing smiles that look candid but are as rehearsed as his punchlines. If I didn't know better, I'd say he was built for this world. But Daniel's charm is a house staged for sale. Open the wrong door and you'll find the pipes leaking. Near the bar, Julian leans against a marble pillar, swirling ice in his glass like it's a meditation ritual. His eyes flick to Daniel, then to me. There's something almost clinical in his attention, like he's auditing, not observing. He's not here as a friend. He's here because I asked him to be. Because I needed someone Daniel wouldn't suspect until it was too late. Julian doesn't wave. Doesn't smile. Just sips. That's enough. I trail behind Daniel toward the welcome circle. The wine steward offers tastings Bordeaux, aged Malbec, a single vineyard Riesling, but Daniel waves it all away. Already know what I like, he says. No surprises tonight. The irony nearly makes me laugh. He doesn't notice me watching. Behind us, Rhea quietly redirects a caterer. Everything about her is efficient: clipboard tucked tight against her body, pen angled perfectly behind one ear, flats that whisper rather than click. She's never needed to announce herself. That's why I hired her. I hope you didn't seat me near anyone trying to pitch crypto. Daniel mutters as we approach the main table. Last month I sat next to a guy who wanted to tokenize marriage. You mean, structure it in smart contracts? I ask lightly. He raises an eyebrow. What, you been Googling finance behind my back? No, I say, smiling. Just living in it. That earns a confused glance. He lets it go. He always lets it go unless someone else is listening. We pause at the head table, where name cards mark our spots. I've placed him beside Julian, just like he asked me. I'm seated between Rhea and a vacant chair which I've labeled media guest, though I already know Margot will fill it uninvited. Daniel takes one look at the arrangement and mutters, "Looks tidy." It is. Precisely so. I reach to adjust my fork. It's off by a fraction of an inch. My thumb and forefinger realign it without thinking. Daniel watches this. You always do that, he says. It's my job. No, he replies, sipping. It's your nature. Julian approaches just then, interrupting whatever moment Daniel thought he was creating. His suit is slate gray, sharp and quiet. The kind of outfit that speaks only when needed. Elena, Julian greets. Daniel. They shake hands. Daniel's grip is firmer than it needs to be. You two already talking shop? Daniel asks. Julian smiles thinly. Not yet. The scene's cons of white slating. Forthing is lady find of I day. I know he's holding the clause not in his hand, not even on paper anymore, but printed into memory. He committed the exact line to heart. He knows the weight of it. The timing. You have a moment tonight? Julian says to Daniel. Want to run something by you. Just a quick look at section 4b. Daniel tilts his head. Section 4 what? Julian shrugs. Prenup. Came across something odd in my files. Probably nothing. Daniel laughs. Jesus. That thing. Haven't looked at it in years. Don't even remember what's in it. I do. I say, too softly for anyone but Julian to hear. Julian's glance flicks to me. He knows what that means, the moment is coming. Daniel waves it off. We signed that back when I had debt and she had vision. Ancient history. I raise my glass in mock salute. History always finds a way back. A beat passes. Julian lets it hang, then nods and steps away, as if the conversation never mattered. Daniel sighs. He's always been a little intense, but useful. Very. I say. At the far end of the space, Margot laughs too loudly. She's in metallic rose, a deliberate choice, meant to shimmer in photos and outshine any actual bride in the room. She's documenting everything already. The table, the florals, her reflection in the wine glass. Good. We need the footage. Back at the head table, the waiter checks for water refills. I glance at my napkin, linen folded into thirds, placed precisely. It reminds me of something else folded. A printed clause, once hidden in the side drawer of our filing cabinet. I remember the night I retrieved it. Alone. Lights off. Wearing latex gloves so Daniel wouldn't notice the drawer had been touched. I read it on the floor of the bathroom like it was scripture. Section 4b. All premarital property, including liquid assets and independent holdings, remain the sole and separate property of the party of origin. No credit, asset, or derivative commingling shall nullify this clause. Legal poetry. Tonight that clause is going to sing. Daniel sits beside me now, flipping his steak knife idly between fingers. He looks relaxed. Confident. It's almost touching. If he were just arrogant, I could pity him. But arrogance built on cruelty. That deserves precision. Do I get a preview of your toast? He asks. No, I say. Keeping it spicy? Keeping it safe. He laughs. From me? From all assumptions. The waiter returns with our amuse-bouche. Daniel sniffs it and immediately waves it away. Too much dill. I take mine and eat it. Flavorful. Sharp. Cold. Exactly how I need to be. Cameras don't just capture truth, they trap it. The rooftop is now candlelit dusk, humming with curated joy. The wine has settled in everyone's veins, softening laughter, raising voices. Servers in starched collars glide between tables, refilling glasses, clearing crumb trails with the elegance of erasure. Margot has claimed the media chair. She wasn't assigned that seat, there never was a media guest on the RSVP, but like always, she slipped in, gold dress flashing like foil, red lip curled in expectation. I knew she would. She always does. That's why I made space. The phone's already in her hand, screen angled just above the rim of her wine glass. Recording, pretending it isn't. The red dot pulses on the screen, that soft, blinking vein of surveillance. I never look directly at it. The eye must feel unseen to record honestly. Across the table, Daniel clinks his glass with the base of his butter knife, not loud, but deliberate. A private rhythm meant to summon attention. People quiet in layers. He doesn't stand. He performs best seated like a king in comfort. This won't take long, he says, the preamble of a man who loves to be listened to. Just a quick nod to the woman beside me, my better half, my design consultant, my investment that continues to appreciate. Laughter. That polished, wine-warmed chuckle that people give when they're not quite sure if a joke is insulting. Daniel raises his glass and turns slightly toward Margot's phone. Marriage, he continues, is like interior design. Full of compromise. You give up a little floor space, a little closet, a little control. But if you choose the right color palette, it doesn't look like loss. It looks intentional. More laughter. He loves this part. The feeling of owning the room with only his voice. I smile. The kind that requires no joy, just coordination of facial muscles and breath control. He leans in theatrically, his voice dropping into something mock tender. Elena promised to love, honor, and redecorate. And I promised to tolerate throw pillows. The crowd roars. Margot's phone catches it all, tight-framed and gleaming. Daniel's face is flushed from wine and ego. His eyes gleam like someone who believes he's just hit a viral moment. I keep smiling. He lifts his glass higher, palm open. To my wife, he declares, who married for love but stayed for the taste level. A perfect final note. The table applauds. Daniel sips, finally turning to me. Anything to add, darling? I tilt my head slightly. Only that taste like patience wears thin. And on for despotism sat. To our fate. A ripple through the crowd. More laughter. They take it as banter. They take everything as banter until the ground opens. Daniel laughs with them. She's sharp. Told you good design cuts. I lower my glass without drinking. Across from me, Rhea is stone still, lips sealed around the stem of her water glass. She doesn't blink. Julian, seated beside Daniel, doesn't smile. He's watching Daniel like a man watching a forecast before a storm. Margot leans in. Mind if I get a little real out of this? She whispers to me. Go ahead. I say. Great energy between you two. Yes. Energy. Like friction. Daniel taps the stem of his wineglass with a silver ring his grandfather's, he once told me. I know it's plated, not real silver. Like most things in his orbit, he raises his arm and beckons the waiter. Let's toast properly. Bring the champagne, the krug. Not the house stuff. This is a celebration. That's how Pios. The waiter bows slightly and disappears toward the bar. Daniel turns to me. 12 years, huh? 12, I echo. The number of things I still tolerate. Another wave of laughter. Margot's camera never stops. You're lucky, he says to the group. Most people only get 6 good years out of a marriage. We've doubled that. And, by subtracting honesty, I murmur. Quiet. Targeted. He doesn't catch it. But Julian does. The waiter returns with the bottle, expertly wrapped in linen, and a tray with 2 flutes. And something else. The folded napkin. No, not napkin. Paper. It lands softly next to Daniel's place setting. The waiter doesn't break stride, doesn't look down. He was trained for more than hospitality tonight. Daniel's mid-sentence about some developer deal in Atlanta when he sees it. Pauses. Furrows his brow. He touches it like it might be a mistake. Lifts it. Unfolds. I watch the moment hit him not all at once, but in ripples. First recognition of his own signature. Then the clause. The paragraph. The date. And then the timestamp not on the paper, but in his mind. March 14th, 2012. Prenup. His own request. Back when I still thought the idea of legal walls in a relationship meant maturity. His face doesn't change immediately. He's trained too in charm, in denial, in the politics of optics. But his grip on the flute tightens. And in that moment, I hear the phone camera catch a soft intake of breath, mine or his, I don't know. I lean forward, gently clinking my glass against his. To endurance, he says, voice still public. I match him. To consequences. Margot's camera lingers just half a second too long. And somewhere in that space, that flicker between toast and tension, the story begins unraveling. Not with screaming. Not with slamming fists. But with a folded piece of paper sliding into frame. And the man who tipped a waiter with a contract he thought would always protect him, realizing it's now a receipt. The sound of applause still floats in the air like smoke, but the performance is over. Daniel keeps smiling, that stretched, too wide grin of a man who knows he's missed something but doesn't want the audience to notice. His fingers hover near the folded clause as if proximity alone might erase it. He slips it under his plate. A coward's move. Across the table, Julian lifts his water glass, unmoved. Rhea has already looked away, busying herself with rearranging silverware no one will use. Margot lowers her phone with a smug little smirk. You two are gold, she says to no one in particular. Seriously, I need a showreel of this night. Daniel swallows too hard. We're just honest, he says. I reach for my napkin, the real one, thick linen, crisp, and gently dab my lips. When I set it back down, the server approaches from behind, laying the dessert menu beside Daniel's elbow. Then, wordlessly, another tray appears. A smaller one. Silver. On it. A receipt. Folded once. I see it. I know it by the weight. That cream cardstock with the faint watermark. Daniel doesn't notice it. His eyes are still on Margot, trying to reclaim footing, conversation, ego. The server places the tray just right, brushing against the edge of the tablecloth. Intentional. I slide the receipt into my clutch in one motion, folding the clasp silently. The transaction complete. This is the part he'll never notice until it's too late. The things that aren't dramatic, the ones that don't demand attention. Power doesn't always arrive as thunder. Sometimes, it whispers through a gesture. Dessert? The server asks. Daniel shakes his head. Just espresso. Of course. Caffeine to brace against confusion. I'll have the panna cotta. I say. That surprises him. I never order dessert at these things. It breaks the illusion of restraint. But tonight isn't about restraint. It's about closure. I didn't think you liked sweets, he says quietly. I've acquired a taste. Margot leans over, phone still cradled in her lap. Wait, Elena, did you say yes to dessert? Can I film you? Like a little number soft indulgence post. I give her the same smile I've given every woman like her for the last 10 years, the one that says, I see what you're doing, and I don't need to stop you. She takes it as permission. The red light clicks back on. This time, I look directly into the lens for a half second. She doesn't notice. Julian clears his throat. Daniel, he says, casually, got a moment after this? Something about that clause actually needs your signature to finalize the hold. Daniel blinks. Hold? Liquidity thing. Legal formality. It'll make sense when you see it. He's trying to sound casual. But I see the flicker of something behind his eyes now. A man beginning to realize he's on unfamiliar ground. I lay my napkin, the linen one, over my lap again, even though I don't need it. It's muscle memory now. Ritualized composure. Daniel shifts in his chair, adjusting his cuff. I thought we were done with all that legal noise, he says. I smile. We are. That unsettles him more than protest would. Margot stands to film the skyline, or maybe us, lit by candlelight like a brand ad for married success. Her phone sweeps the scene slowly. You guys, this looks like a Dior campaign. Daniel laughs, a touch too loud. Make sure you don't get my bald spot. You don't have a bald spot, she says flirtatiously. He leans into the compliment. Soaks it in like it's oxygen. But the truth is he does. And more importantly, he has blind spots. Ones I'm standing inside. The panna cotta arrives, round and trembling on the plate. A single sugared violet rests on top. Violet, the color of warning in older mythologies. Poisonous when misread. I eat slowly. Carefully. No one notices. Daniel begins to fidget. He checks his phone. Then his watch. The waiter hasn't brought the espresso. Rhea walks past again. She doesn't pause, doesn't speak. But when she reaches the edge of the patio, she mouths the words to me from across the flickering light. It's done. I nod once. That's all. The signed draft, the bank account trigger, the final timing with the notary, it's all coordinated. Margot was the flare. Julian is the carrier. Rhea is the match. And me? I'm the hand that struck it. Daniel glances over at me, suddenly attentive again. You're being quiet. This tune on the vacant sensive way say with heart to da dime and wear the top and undal. Just enjoying the view. Which one? All of them. He smirks. You know, I was thinking maybe we should do this more often. These dinners. It reminds people who we are. It does, I say. It absolutely reminds them. He beams. Exactly. Julian slides a small folder beside his espresso cup, thin, matte black, legal trim. Daniel eyes it. What's this? Just a copy, Julian says. Not binding. Yet. Daniel opens it, flips the cover. His eyes pause on the first page. Recognition blooms, not shock. Not yet, but the disorientation of reading your own name in a context you didn't choose. Then, clause section 4b bolded. Julian taps the page once. Prenup, Daniel. Just revisiting some separation language. Clean. Routine. Daniel laughs. Tight now. We're not separating. Julian shrugs. It's not always about separation. Sometimes it's about precision. Daniel turns to me. Elena? I sip my espresso. Sometimes clarity is love. Set of the prisen to her fight however contame. Crescent however content her fine self. Set of the prisen however contents. His mouth opens, but there are no words inside it. Not tonight. Rhea intercepts Daniel near the bar with the precision of a woman who has waited for this exact 5-second window. He doesn't notice her at first. He's still rubbing his temple, jaw tight, espresso unfinished. Daniel, she says gently, like it's just another business exchange. Julian asked me to pass this to you. He's with the notary. She slides a single sheet of paper across the brass bar top. The room's music softens behind them. Clinks of forks and clatter of dessert plates grow distant. The edge of the rooftop is framed in warm, strung lights, glowing like a halo over the wreckage about to unfold. Daniel glances down, distracted. Then pauses. The paper isn't thick, not enough to scream significance, but the text is printed in a quiet, brutal font. No branding. No frills. Just clarity. His name. Her name. And prenup section 4b. Separate property remains separate. No commingling credits, transfers or account blends shall invalidate this clause. Signed. The 14th of March 2012, with counsel present. Initials. D.H. E.R. His face stills. The silence isn't peace, it's stall. What is this? He asks Rhea, voice tight. Reminder, she replies. Julian thought you'd want to see it before finalizing. Daniel flips the page, hoping for a loophole on the back. There isn't one. I don't understand, this was years ago. Before she had anything. Rhea nods. And now that she does, that clause means even more. He blinks. She's not, this isn't happening, is it? I'm just the messenger. Rhea steps away like fog dissolving quietly, completely, leaving Daniel stranded under too much light. Across the room, I'm sipping sparkling water, watching through a curtain of candles. He doesn't see me yet, but I see everything. He's trying not to react, not to make a scene. His smile flickers for an audience that isn't even looking anymore. Julian reappears beside him like a second chapter. We good? He asks. Daniel holds up the paper like it's a joke. You know this clause is outdated, right? It's signed, time-stamped, and never amended, Julian replies. So it's law. Daniel scoffs. Yeah, but the context has changed. Julian tilts his head. Has it? Daniel turns slightly, catching sight of me across the tables. I meet his gaze, unblinking. He doesn't smile. Neither do I. He walks toward me slowly, the paper still in hand. I set my glass down before he reaches the table. He lowers his voice to a hush. Are you serious? About what? This clause. This move. I'm not moving, I say. I'm clarifying. You're using a clause from 13 years ago. You insisted on it, I remind him. You said it was protection. For me. No. For us, I say. You just assumed you'd always have more to protect. His jaw tightens. You really think you're walking away with everything? I'm not walking away, I reply. I'm sitting still. You're the one slipping. Julian, now standing behind him, adds, we've already begun asset classification. There's a forensic trail. The clause activates now, with a trigger on filed property titles and cash equivalents. Daniel wheels on him. You're her lawyer now. I'm her observer, Julian says. Her counsel arrives Monday. The color drains slightly from Daniel's face. Monday? Unless you'd prefer to start tonight. The folded paper is now crumpled slightly in his palm. I could have helped you, he mutters. If you'd asked. You did, I say quietly. He frowns. You helped me. I continue. When you laughed at my startup invoices. When you ignored the designs I pitched. When you handed that prenup to the waiter like a joke. Every time you tried to shrink me in public, you were helping. Helping how? To document the difference, I say, between who we were then and who I am now. Julian shifts forward. There's one more item. He pulls a narrow folder from his briefcase and opens it, revealing a single notarized page. Daniel's eyes scan the header. Deed transfer. 442 Liberty Walk, Charlotte. The house, he breathes. Julian nods. Filed 2 days ago. Separate asset classification based on Elena's renovations and sole refinancing. It's clean. Your name's not on it anymore. And will no wait. Daniel turns to me, rage now peeking through the edges of his disbelief. You did this behind my back. No, I say. I did it in plain sight. You just weren't looking. He crumples the clause page fully in one hand. You think this makes you powerful? No. I say. It makes me accurate. A beat. Then Julian delivers the final cut. Your accounts will be on a soft hold as of midnight. We recommend you transfer nothing further until reviewed. This is a pack sustain quired. But as no cons of his maddle tire. Daniel stares at me like a man trying to wake up mid-fall. I pick up the glass again and toast him quietly, without rising. To clarity. His mouth opens a protest. A plea? But he says nothing. Only the candles flicker. Only the clause remains. Daniel returns to the table as if he never left, but his walk betrays him. Too slow, too careful. Like the floor might give way beneath each step, the rest of the table carries on oblivious. A fresh wave of dessert plates arrives. Someone's laughing too loudly about a TikTok ad campaign. Margot is still scrolling through footage. Her world remains shallow, curated, safe, but Daniel's hands are shaking. I see it first when he picks up the wine glass. His fingers wrap around the stem, too tight. His thumb presses against the bowl until the glass shifts slightly on its base, the tiniest sound, like tension made audible. He tries to cover it with a laugh. We're still married, you know, he says to me too casually. This clause nonsense, just legal footnotes. Doesn't change anything. I smile at him like he's already a memory. Of course. We're still everything you said in your toast. He winces. Around us, nothing slows the music, the murmur of social polish, the flicker of patio torches. But Daniel is no longer in it. He's floating outside the moment, like a man watching his house burn from the driveway. He raises his glass. The red wine catches a sharp slice of candlelight and casts a streak across the white tablecloth, not romantic, not artistic, but surgical. The stem trembles. Then a soft, nearly imperceptible pop. A crack blooms at the base of the bowl. Spiderweb thin. Silent. He doesn't see it. But I do. I lean forward. You should set that down. He blinks. What? The glass. It's cracked. A cracked. He studies it, squints. Barely. Barely is how things begin, I say. Rhea reappears, just behind him, quietly collecting plates. She moves with the efficiency of someone folding away a scene. Daniel lowers the glass to the table, almost reluctantly, like surrendering a weapon. He turns to me. Was this the plan all along? I tilt my head. Which part? This whole thing. Tonight. The claws, Julian, the cameras. I glance at Margot, who is now uploading a filtered shot of her panna cotta. Hashtagging words like number Lux dinner and number marriage goals. No. I say. The plan was to survive you. Daniel stares. I built a life, I continue. You built a version. I didn't lie. You made a show of love, I say. That's not the same. He exhales sharply, the breath of a man trying to find new footing on a floor that isn't there anymore. You could have told me, he says. You could have warned me. You were warned, I reply. You just thought the silence meant surrender. A pause. The kind that only comes when one person has finally stopped playing along. The crack in the wine glass catches the light again. It hasn't broken fully. It just exists. Waiting. Rhea leans in to whisper something to a server, then steps back into the edge of the room, always watching. Daniel sits back down, folding his napkin like it matters. I should have had my own lawyer, he mutters. You did, I remind him. You picked the firm. Yeah. He says bitterly. And you outmaneuvered them. No, I say, voice steady. I just paid attention. He glances at me, eyebrows lifting. And now what? Now? I swirl my spoon in my water glass. Now you're watching the consequences of underestimating someone who spent years designing silence. He doesn't reply. He doesn't blink. The candle beside us sputters slightly, wick drowning in wax. A thin line of smoke escapes. Julian approaches again, a small black binder in hand. Elena, he says gently, do you want to look at the projected asset split now or wait until tomorrow? Tomorrow, I reply without hesitation. Daniel stares at the binder like it might hiss. Julian nods and walks away again, leaving it on the table beside me. I'm not broke, Daniel says. I never said you were. I can still. Daniel, I interrupt gently but finally. This isn't about poverty. It's about subtraction. He frowns. What? I'm removing what was never real, I say. The wine glass cracks again. This time he hears it. He jerks his hand back instinctively. A clean line has split through the base. It doesn't collapse not yet, but it's no longer usable. He looks at it like it betrayed him. I'll get another, he says stiffly. No, I tell him. You should leave it. Why? To remember the moment it changed. Every wadding the speaking. In lost happen grus. The binder on the table is matte black, unassuming, the kind of object people overlook unless they know what's inside can ruin or redefine lives. I don't reach for it right away. Power lands heavier when it's delayed. Daniel watches it like a live wire, as if touching it might confirm the things he's starting to believe. Or fear. You want to flip through it? I ask gently. He swallows. What is it? History, I say. Filed. His face hardens. Filed where? I tap the binder lightly. Mecklenburg County Recorder's Office. Book 241. Page 20. He goes still. He knows what that means. The deed transfer. The one he laughed at when I first brought it up in conversation, thinking I was talking aesthetics, not equity. He'd rolled his eyes at me across the kitchen island, muttering something about women and their nesting fantasies. Thank you for watching. 2 News for Down. Now the house he sleeps in, the one I designed, remodeled, refinanced, and paid off behind his oblivious pride, no longer bears his name. It never needed to. I flip the binder open slowly. First page. The scanned deed transfer. Second. A notarized statement of business separation. Third. A printout of the USPTO trademark confirmation for Room State, my design brand, the one he once dismissed as side hustle therapy. It's not at Ingrab today. I helped with that logo, he says suddenly, pointing at the printout. I nod. And I helped you pass your real estate exam. Doesn't make us co-owners. He looks down at the stack of papers and back up at me. Disbelief curdling into resentment. You planned this. All of it. I prepared, I say. There's a difference. Julian appears at his side again, crisp and casual. Daniel, just confirming your business license renewal last fall. That was in your name only, correct? Daniel frowns. Of course it was. And the assets are under your LLC. Yes. Why? Because it makes your argument for shared equity weaker. Julian replies. Just in case you were thinking about contesting Room State ownership. Daniel's breath shortens. That brand started on my laptop. Purchased with my card, I remind him. On my business account. How's it you won? Julian flips a tab in the binder and pulls out a final page. The digital asset log. Instagram handle, domain rights, Shopify backend, all registered under Elena's EIN. Dated. Tracked. Notarized. Daniel snatches the page and scans it like speed reading might reverse the evidence. Margot. From 2 seats away. Pipes up with wide-eyed surprise. Wait, Room State is you? I nod. She looks stunned. I thought that was like, I don't know, one of those anonymous influencer brands. You never post your face. Exactly. I say. You only see the rooms. Julian lifts an envelope and sets it beside Daniel. This one's for you. Certified copy. Daniel glares at him. What is this, some kind of ambush? Julian is calm. You were notified. You just didn't read the documents. Daniel turns to me, seething. You wanted the whole room watching, didn't you? I glance across the table to Margot, to the silent waiters, to Rhea holding her phone by her waist, camera discreetly rolling. No. I say. I wanted you to watch yourself. He pushes back from the table, jaw locked. You built a courtroom in a restaurant. No. I reply, still seated. I built an empire inside a marriage. He looks at the evidence again, but this time like it might bite him. So what? You think this makes you untouchable? It's touchable. No, I say. It makes me documented. Julian closes the binder slowly, clicks the clasp. Daniel, you're free to retain counsel and contest these filings. But if you do, I'll lose worse, he mutters. Julian nods. Likely. Daniel looks at me, then the ceiling, like the stars might offer rescue. And this was your endgame? This was my beginning. I say. He shakes his head, chuckling in disbelief. You really think this is justice? No, I say softly. Justice would have required you to care. He stands unsure where to go, too proud to storm off, too exposed to sit. Rhea leans in as he hesitates. Would you like us to email copies of everything? Daniel says nothing. Just walks away. Slow, stiff. He leaves the envelope behind. Julian exhales. Well executed. Rhea offers a small nod. 4-camera coverage. Clean audio. Date stamped. Angle from Margot's reel will cut perfectly with mine. Thank you, I say. Let's lock the footage. Julian clicks the binder shut. Filed and protected. Rhea pulls a small hard drive from her bag. 2 backups already created. I rise slowly, smoothing my dress. Across the table, the wine glass Daniel cracked remains on its side. Useless, fragile, left behind. Margot looks between us, stunned. So, wait. You own everything now? No. I say gently. Just everything I built. This was of ours. To not company. To not company. Daniel doesn't leave immediately. That would suggest decisiveness. No, he lingers like smoke from a candle long since snuffed out. His silhouette loiters in the reflective glass doors at the far edge of the rooftop, posture frayed, searching for something dignity, maybe. Or a version of himself that hasn't already been filed away under outmaneuvered. The party doesn't stop. It just starts to ignore him. Voices rise again. Jazz filters back in. Margot posts her dessert reel. A new round of drinks is poured at a nearby table. Only Daniel remains stuck, like a scene buffered in slow motion while the rest of the night streams ahead. Julian packs the binder into a messenger case. Rhea tucks the footage drive into her coat pocket. Their tasks are done. Executed cleanly. No red left on the ledger. I'll leave you two to finish, Julian says softly to me. We're finished, I reply. He nods, understanding more than I say. Daniel finally turns. Walks past the tables, past the floral arch, past the ring of tea lights that once framed him like a king. I follow at a distance, not to chase, just to confirm the departure. We reach the elevator alcove, and he stops. You humiliated me, he says, facing the doors. No, I answer. You did that when you turned the truth into performance. He turns slowly, not fully. You didn't need to film it. I didn't, I say. They did. Still, he mutters. There was a line. Thank you for watching. There was, I reply. It was in the prenup. He exhales sharply. You're not even angry. I was. For years. The elevator dings softly. The doors open. He doesn't step in. You'll regret this, he says. Not a threat, a prayer. I doubt it. Because you won? No. I say. Because I stopped needing to. We stand there, a full breath between us. And then he steps inside. The doors close. His reflection vanishes. And so does the noise. I return home alone. The silence is architectural, shaped by absence, padded with memory. I flick on the lights to the hallway. Everything glows soft white, the kind of lighting Daniel always said made him feel rich. He never understood that comfort isn't about expense, it's about peace. His shoes are still by the door. His keys in the bowl. His jacket on the hook. Proof of presence. Traces of someone still pretending they belonged. I don't touch any of it. I walk into the bedroom. My side of the bed is turned down, the pillow fluffed just the way I like it. Rhea must have sent someone from her team ahead. Or maybe she did it herself. She knows what this moment means. His side of the bed remains untouched. I stare at it for a while. Not with grief. Not with longing. Just inventory. What did he bring here? Really? Wait? Noise? His toothbrush is still in the holder. His cologne on the dresser. His framed certificate from the Chamber of Commerce still angled toward the window. I pick it up. Read the inscription. Daniel Holmes' outstanding achievement in urban development. He was always building things on other people's property. I place the frame face down on the shelf. One by one, I begin cataloging what stays and what leaves. The sound system? Mine. The marble side tables? Mine. The books? Mine. The empire? Mine. There's a notepad by the bed, leather bound. Monogrammed, a gift I once gave him when he announced he'd start journaling. The pages are blank. I write a single line. You built the facade. I built the foundation. Then I tear the page out and fold it. Slide it beneath his watch on the nightstand. The bedroom window reflects me as I move, my posture steady, my eyes still. There's no music, no speech, no applause. Just the faint hum of something finally settled. In the corner, my phone buzzes. A message from Ria. Transfer confirmed. Asset release logged. You're clean. I send a single emoji back, the lock. Across the room, the house sighs as if relieved. I turn the ring on my finger one last time, diamond facing out now. Not for display. Not for love. Just for closure. The press release goes out on a Thursday. Time to drop at 8 a.m. EST, when the design world wakes, when the inboxes of editors and brand directors are still uncluttered. Ria's media team handled the language. I signed off on 3 words. Founder. Designer. Owner. No co-credits. No softened edges. Just truth. By noon, Room State trends on LinkedIn. By 2 p.m., Architectural Digest reposts our minimalist foyer with the caption, "Owned and imagined by Elena Rivera." By 6 p.m., Margot calls me breathless. "You didn't tell me you were her." I smile through the line. "You didn't ask." Social architecture. The Room State website relaunches that same day. Homepage. Before and afters. About section. A single paragraph. Founded by Elena Rivera. Designed to last longer than apologies. The line comes from a journal entry. One I never thought anyone would read. But people do. By Friday, the email list triples. Orders flood in. An influencer posts a flat lay of our velvet throw with the caption, "She rebuilt." I'm inspired. Daniel doesn't post anything. I assume he sees it. He always followed the tag for analytics. Not because he cared about the brand. Just its proximity to success. I get a DM from someone we met once at a gala. "I always knew you were the real brain behind it." I don't respond. Ria schedules a brand reveal event at a small venue downtown, modern glass walls, muted lighting, symmetrical florals. Not a rooftop. Grounded. Julian arrives early, binder in hand, now thinner than before. "I filed the final confirmations," he says. "Digital asset chain is clean." He hasn't contested. "There's certificates hein ADs and reformini." He won't. I reply. Julian offers a soft smile. He knows what happens if he does. The launch event. There's no red carpet, no champagne tower, no staged kiss. Just a woman in graphite silk standing in front of what she built. The press expects a speech. I give one. 2 minutes. All truth. This brand was born in the space between being ignored and being underestimated. Everything you see tonight, every corner, every color, every line came from moments no one else thought were worth noticing. And that's what Room State is about. Not design. Recognition. The applause is different from the rooftop, not performative, not polite. It feels earned. At the edge of the room, a reporter raises a hand. "Was there anyone who tried to take credit for your work?" I pause. Then smile. No one worth quoting. Could Wunwei capped his friends. Later that night, I walk the display hall alone after the guests have left. After the photos are taken. After the spotlights are powered down. Room by room they stand. The restoration kitchen built from salvaged wood, Daniel said, was too distressed. The open-frame bedroom modeled after the silence that followed our biggest fight. The echo staircase where every footstep sounds like your own voice coming back. Each space is labeled with a small brass plaque, designed by Elena Rivera. No co-signators. No ghosts. Just name. And presence. I pause at the reflection room, all glass, low light, matte floors. I catch my own silhouette. Straight shoulders. Unapologetic stillness. I don't smile. I just stand. That night, Ria sends the metrics. 4M video views. 96% positive sentiment. 212 press pickups. 1 cease and desist attempt, withdrawn within hours. Julian texts 1 word. Confirmed. I light a single candle in my office. Set the cracked wine glass retrieved from the restaurant by Ria on the shelf behind me. Not as a warning. As a relic. The empire wasn't built from revenge. It was built from everything he couldn't see. It comes on a Wednesday. Not a call. Not a text. A courier beige jacket, no eye contact. Professionalism worn like armor arrives at the front desk of the Room State Studio with a flat envelope. Hand-stamped. Final notice certified copy enclosed. Holmes v. Rivera. Voluntary withdrawal. I don't open it. Not immediately. I finish the design review. I'm in lighting adjustments for the Echo Staircase campaign. The junior designer is nervous. Her hands shake slightly when I lean over her shoulder. I tell her to soften the saturation, not the vision. She exhales, nods. After she slide the inside, 1 copy of the clause. Section 4B underlined. Initialed. Stamped. Time-logged. All claims to shared property, intellectual or physical, are hereby dissolved. Signed, not by force. Not by apology. By resignation. He didn't fight. He filed. Walked away. Quietly. Julian calls 5 minutes later. He's done, he says. Clause held. Case closed. No assets moved. Thank you for watching now. Did he say anything? Only, I was never in her league. I say nothing for a moment. Then, that's true. That night I take off the ring. No drama. No ceremony. I simply set it on the windowsill above the sink, the one facing the skyline, where I used to wait for him to come home late. Always with a story, always with a spin. It doesn't feel heavy. It doesn't feel anything. It just rests there. Metal catching city light. A placeholder finally returned to stillness. I wipe my hands on a cloth and go back to reviewing mood boards. We're redesigning the reflection room. Not for aesthetic. For space. I need one less room about him. In the office hallway, Ria installs a small framed quote the next day. She doesn't ask for permission. It just appears between the 2 mood boards quietly placed, like all the sharpest things in this story. Black letters on a cream card. Some marriages are monuments. Some are scaffolding. This one was a blueprint for what never to repeat. Margot visits later, phone down for once. She stares at the quote for a long time. Then asks, was it worth it? I look her in the eye. Yes. She nods. It's strange. What is? To win with silence. I half smile. Louder than screaming. Julian sends a final email before midnight. Subject: case resolved. Chain hash for 42. Attached: the signed withdrawal. The final bank transfer logs, the title records. In the footer, a link. I click it. A photo appears, Daniel's signature beside mine. Side by side like names on a forgotten guest list. Except this time. Mine comes last. Filed. Witnessed. Irrevocable. The screen fades back to the dashboard. Nothing left to read. I don't call Daniel. He doesn't write. There's no last talk. No closure coffee. No dramatic parking lot confession. Just paper. And air. The thing he never understood was that revenge isn't loud. It's permanent. The same rooftop. Different weather. 3 months have passed since the night Daniel turned our marriage into a performance and I turned it into a signature. The air is cooler now. Less performative. No floral arch. No violinist. No Margot circling with a phone. Just me. And a table for one. I asked for the same seat we shared that night near the railing, skyline behind me. I didn't do it for nostalgia. I did it for measurement. To prove how little the space required to feel full. The waiter recognizes me. Or maybe he just remembers the aftermath. He doesn't ask where my guest is. He sets the water glass down gently and leaves me alone. I unfold the napkin, thick linen, Same brand as before. I don't need to hide my hands tonight. No rings. No secrets. Just skin. And silence. I brought my sketch pad. Not the digital one, the original leather-bound, graphite-smeared, spine-cracked book I used before room state was a brand. Back when it was just a dream whispered between product returns and dinner obligations. I flip through pages. Early sketches. Sharp corners. Overbuilt. I can see how much I used to design like I was defending myself. Now the lines are softer. Bolder. I sketch a table 4 seats, all facing out. No head of table. No host. No performance. Just a space that welcomes. Just enough for who I've become. The waiter returns with the amuse-bouche. It's the same one from before, a miniature goat cheese tart with microgreens. I smile as he sets it down. He hesitates. Would you like wine tonight, Miss Rivera? I shake my head. Just water. He nods and leaves. The tart tastes exactly the same, creamy, crisp, delicate. But I do not. I'm not here for indulgence. I'm here for alignment. I remove the folded piece of paper from my clutch, the one from the night Daniel was served. The signed clause. I'd kept a copy. Not for vengeance. For reminder. I place it on the table, beside the napkin. Then beside it, I place the ring. Facing upward. Not to reclaim it. To close it. Across the skyline, buildings flicker like chessboards mid-game. Ria is overseeing a pop-up showroom in Chicago tonight. Julian just messaged that our South Korea licensing agreement passed. Margot sent a voice note this morning. You're officially myth now. But tonight, I didn't invite anyone. Because this seat, this view, this silence. It doesn't require witnesses. There's no empire here. No clause. No applause. Just a woman who survived herself. I turn to a blank page in the sketchpad. Draw a door. Frame only. No handle. No lock. Just open space. At the base, I write one phrase. Some doors are left open not to return but to prove we walked through them. Then I close the sketchbook, fold the napkin, and leave the ring behind. Not as a threat. Not as a legacy. Just as a truth returned to stillness.